Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. TyJon Charlie here. Going to be talking today about what I've been working on. Not necessarily as much about the shows I've been playing, just kind of the current projects I kind of have, all the irons I have in the fire. So if you've been paying attention, well, first off, thank you for paying attention to what I've been releasing lately. You might notice that it's a little bit different from before. I am kind of focusing on this live style of recording. I've been mildly obsessed with recording my full one-man band style performance, as big and stuff as possible. So that's part of it, and I've been releasing acoustic songs kind of alongside those, kind of the highest quality I can get anyway, acoustic versions of my songs. So I guess to kind of get into it here, start at the beginning. I kind of had been doing on and off live recordings through other places a lot of the time, so not like on my own dime, and haven't been filming. I did the Live in State and Water, released that album. I had a couple tracks with Middle of Nowhere Music. They did some really high quality video content. And then Maddiotta Media, I did a few videos there as well. And they turned out okay, all of them. I mean, there's some shining spots in those, I think. But I just, I kept putting some live stuff out, and I always like the idea of, capturing the performance like live in its like truest essence, I guess. But, a lot of it's out of my control with those things. Like the Live in State and Water was in front of a bunch of people. So, I mean, it was like an actual live show, and I didn't have any control over the audio or anything like that. So it just kind of was what it was. And then I was having this conversation with a good friend of mine, Trevor, and he was, he's kind of talking up the stuff I've been doing a little bit and saying, your live music game is a little bit higher than I think people at your level, as far as like what I've been releasing and stuff of that nature. And it got me thinking that I should record like essentially my own version of those other types of recordings that I had, the live ones that I had done. So it was in my head. And then all of a sudden, I start to notice this guy, Steven Wilson Jr., and I've been mildly obsessed with him for a little while now. Very, very talented musician and songwriter. And I think the first video I saw of him was on TikTok, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, kind of different, a little more country than I usually go for, but just the kind of twanginess in his voice, I guess. But his writing was interesting, and he has a very unique tone. And that part, something I'm going to get into a little bit later, the tone of it. But so I from TikTok, I went to the YouTube and started to look him up and just see what he's all about. And he has 5 acoustic kind of videos of him doing just a live performance, and it's just in a room a lot of the time. And then I ended up and listened to his album. His album was really, really good, but I tended to like his live versions of the songs even better than his album versions. They might have been a little bit overproduced or something in my ears. I don't really know. I mean, there's still some great songs on that. Son of Dad, I think, is the album. But I don't know. I just really, really clung on to these live videos, and I was kind of obsessed with them. And I was obsessed with how he was doing them, because it's really just like a 2-camera shoot, and the videos were very high quality. And I mean, it was nothing spectacular, but it was entertaining, and there's some sort of magic that he captured in those. So got me thinking even more. So I was kind of inspired by my buddy Trevor, and then eventually that guy, and eventually bought some nicer cameras and decided I was going to do my own version of this. And I mean, I'm not necessarily a very visual guy. So like the video part of all the stuff I do is a little bit foreign to me, and just trying to, put it together, figure it out on the fly, always trying to figure it out. But sometimes that goes great, sometimes it doesn't go so great. But so I got these nicer cameras and set up some time at Eclipse because the idea was I just wanted to capture my full one-man band performance, like in its biggest form and all its glory, I guess. Just try to capture that essence of what that sound really is, because I had been recording some other stuff, and some of the stuff I'm trying to mimic, like some of the tones I do live and some of the foot percussion type things I do, and it just got me thinking like I should just capture what it actually is instead of trying to make it sound similar. And part of that has been I've been recording my actual pedal board send to kind of really get that feel instead of trying to mimic that with like pads and stuff. But one of the unique things about the Steven Wilson Jr. was I still notice it to this day. He plays an acoustic electric. It's classical. He has it tuned down to low C, and he has a bunch of verb. And he plays, sometimes I think it's through a tube amp, and just a very unique tone. And I feel like I had been developing my tone for a long time, kind of before I'd even heard of Steven Wilson Jr. But I wasn't really trying to capture that as much in the studio. So I guess the thinking now is like, I've been cultivating this sound for so long, and this is what I sound like live. So why am I trying to just make it sound similar enough? So I started to kind of change my thinking on that a little bit and really just try to capture what the sound actually is. And the videos that he was putting out was very inspiring, because I had recently gotten into video editing just to, try to keep up with like the short form content on TikTok and Reels and all those different things. And so it just seemed doable, I guess. As with everything I do, it's always an experiment. So I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go, because I liked a lot of those live performances better than the actual album versions of the song. It just makes me think like, some people are going to like that better. I like that better sometimes. So, and I do a very elaborate setup when I play live. I'm doing the foot percussion. I got my pedal board chain. I got my bass send. And because of Steven Wilson Jr., I actually picked up something. He does this thing I call the space kick, but I think it's an SPD-1 Roland. It's like a pad that he hits, and it sounds like an explosion kind of, because it's like a kick drum with a ton of reverb, and it sounds really cool. So I started integrating that into my sets as well, because I really wanted to have that for the live performances. And that's even transferred even to the studio, because I like how it sounds so much. It's very good for like punctuation, but anyway, I digress. So it's like I went into the studio and I recorded, I think, 15, 16 songs, something like that. Just like a live set, I wasn't really necessarily, I didn't even have a game plan, really. I mean, I had a list of probably 40 songs that were options, depending on how I felt, which is kind of how I run my sets live anyway. I have in my head more, I have like this idea of how the set generally goes, but there's a lot of wiggle room. I can swerve this way if my voice is feeling a little off, or if the sound is a little off, or if I'm feeling really good, I can kind of veer that way. Maybe I can go that way a little sooner. So I had this big list, and I'd been rehearsing because I had set it up, and I went and did it. And it's kind of like my version of how comedians do like a special, I guess. Kind of capture their material from the last few years that they've been developing for a long time. And it's all self-produced, of course, so that makes it a little bit tougher. I don't have like a crew or anything, which I think probably the Steven Wilson Jr. guy does, but I don't really know for sure. But I just really like that video element. Now, our sounds aren't the same. I'm not saying like I'm copying his style. The visual element I'm kind of pulling from, because I don't really have that gene necessarily to just be as artistic that way, maybe. So just kind of dipping my feet into that world a little bit. And so I got the two cameras for the shoot, and recorded 15-ish songs. And the plan is, one by one, I kind of go back and mix and master and just, make it sound as big and as full as possible with just one guy, because it is the full one-man band setup. And I don't know that necessarily this is going to, I guess one of the other parts of it, I should say, is I don't know if any of these are going to go anywhere, and I don't know if anything I do is ever going to go anywhere necessarily. But if I didn't do this, and this is something Trevor really got me thinking about, is, and it was kind of after the fact, honestly. It wasn't like necessarily before I recorded, but because I wasn't recording in this way, where I was doing exactly how I play it live, just its biggest, fullest, kind of polished setup. When I get older, and maybe I'm not doing music anymore because I'm too old to, do this crazy setup. I doubt I'll ever quit performing, but the one-man band's pretty intense and takes a lot of work to set it up and to just do it, to play the foot drums, sing, play guitar, know what all my different pedals do and stuff. There's going to be a certain point where I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. So even if these songs don't necessarily go anywhere, it's just going to be awesome to have kind of a snapshot of this kind of performance in its most polished, kind of biggest way. And that's why the album cover for this live album is it looks like a old Polaroid, kind of, because the point is it's a snapshot, essentially. I mean, I'm not saying I performed all these songs the best possible that I could. I mean, I didn't do multiple takes, really. So you just kind of start to finish, whole set, kind of get the vibe, polish them up as good as possible. But this is going to be a good example of what I'm doing right now, which is this pretty elaborate one-man band setup. And I think when I get older, I'm going to really appreciate, I hope that people appreciate it as much as I do, or as much as I appreciate the Steven Wilson Jr. stuff, his YouTube and all his video content that he puts out. I'm hoping that other people would appreciate mine kind of in a similar way. But even if they don't, I will. And I'll have just, if I didn't do this, I would just have like a rough, blurry vision of kind of what it sounded like. Maybe some bad cell phone video of kind of the thing I was doing. But because I'm doing this album, I will have like a perfect representation. And that's what I'm really going for. So, and the other thing is I'm doing a couple covers, which I had kind of refrained from doing stuff I like, though. I'm being kind of specific about the covers I'm doing. I don't want them to be just, wagon wheel, stuff that kind of generic that I play at the bars to kind of get people excited and into what I'm doing. I'm doing either kind of songs that I feel like I have a unique take on, or kind of like a B-side of an artist I really like. There's a couple Kings of Leon songs, which I'm a big Kings of Leon fan. But yeah, so that's kind of the whole idea. And then kind of in the landscape of what music is today, I think the vision is I'll have consistent video content, and I'll be able to release stuff because I'm doing not only the video, I am releasing the audio on Spotify as well. So because that Steven Wilson Jr. guy, he has a really cool cover, Something in the Way by Nirvana, and he doesn't have it on Spotify or on anywhere to listen to it. So you pretty much have to listen to it via YouTube. And sometimes I wish that I had it on the Spotify. So it's kind of what I'm doing. I'm releasing it both ways. So you get the all audio version, which is pretty polished. It's in the studio over at Eclipse. Eric Nelson engineered it, and he helped me run the cameras. But I mean, I'm pretty much just winging it. I don't think they're necessarily going to be as good video quality. But again, I'm just one guy, and I don't even know what I'm doing necessarily on the video side of things. But I figure after this whole process, I'll have a much better grasp of video editing anyway. But I mean, there was a couple little things, like the cameras weren't all the way in focus the way that I'd want them to be in some of the songs, and a couple little things. But, these are all kinks to be worked out. I don't think that, the next time I go in there to do this. So kind of slow releasing these songs, and eventually I'm going to get to the end, and then I'll probably go back in and do it again, just with a different set of songs and a little bit more know-how, hopefully, I guess. And Eric will have a little bit better understanding of what I'm going for. I think he already does. So that's been super helpful. But I'm going to bring in a monitor for sure to make sure those cameras are in perfect focus. But anyway, beside that, so far I've got 4 songs out. So I still have, over 10 songs to release. And it's just been nice to be able to kind of slowly release them. And then eventually, I'll group them all as kind of like an album. And alongside this, I'm doing these acoustic versions of my songs, my newer songs. And I'm doing this in a way that's, I'm going to release it acoustically, and that'll be great for the short form video content. So, I constantly have stuff to be putting online and kind of putting on all the social medias. But then eventually I'm going to record all these songs as full band arrangements. But since I did hopefully such a high quality to begin with on the acoustic versions, that I can just use these as kind of like the baseline of the track and just build the full band kind of around it. And another thing that's good with this is that I'm going to be kind of able to develop the other instrumentation and think about that long and hard while I'm releasing and recording other acoustic versions of the song. I can listen to these acoustic versions and get a better idea and grasp on what else needs to be tracked on top of it for the full band. But again, it's with the idea that, like, I want it to sound how I sound, like I've been developing this one-man band performance for a long time, this guitar chain on my pedal board for a long time that is kind of specific to me. I don't think anybody else really has the same, maybe similar, but not the same sound. And I mean, my vocals are weird enough that I think they sound unique. Maybe if you can't call them good, you can at least call them unique. And hopefully my songwriting is good enough to kind of carry me the rest of the way. But so yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing and been working on. And I haven't been focusing as much on the podcast as I probably should. I've been really busy with shows this summer. It's been kind of wild. The first I had like 11 and 14 days in the beginning of June, and been very busy summer so far, and it looks like it's going to continue that way. Some cool stuff I have coming up. I'm doing the Make Music Normal Festival in Uptown Normal. I'm playing on Friday the 18th in the Roundabout at 5 p.m., and I'm opening for Drew Cagle and The Reputation for the 4th of July in Danville. And those would be all original sets. So that's my bigger shows of the summer, I guess, so far. But anyhow, I just kind of, again, I know that some people probably kind of peripherally pay attention to what I'm doing, but I just feel like I wanted to express what I'm actually trying to do, and hopefully, bring you along for the ride of it all, because it is, I don't know, it's different. It's not how I used to do things, so it's kind of exciting. Another cool thing I'm working on, my good friend Jeff, who recorded our first EP, Art Vandalay, and our first full length album, really my only full length album, Designed to Shine. He was the engineer on all of those. So, but my old drummer, the drummer in the Unemployed Architects, Big D, Derek Griffin, he uploaded our first EP to Spotify, and Jeff heard those, I think, for the first time in probably 10 years or something. So he kind of was like, oh, we should re-record Completely Closed. So we started that last week. So that's going to be just another thing I'll be putting out. But again, with that same mentality of trying to capture my real sound, how I really sound, not try to, make it similar, but overproduced, I guess. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to express, like, that's what I've been working on, if anybody's curious, and that's what you'll be seeing me put a lot out of. The live versions of the songs, a bunch of clips around that. I'll do a bunch of short form content on the acoustic versions of the songs, and eventually those will end up and be a full album. I mean, both sides, both the one-man band live in the studio performances that I recorded over there at Eclipse, and the acoustic versions. Last time I went into the studio to restart the acoustic stuff, I recorded 3 kind of in one day, and I did one live one as well. I did Premonition Man, but that was kind of before that was before all the new live recordings. I did have kind of an idea with that because when I recorded Premonition Man, I did it on a guitar that was standard tuning but down to low C. So I mean, just a different feel. But then when I play it live, I play it in regular standard tuning, E standard. So it doesn't really sound that the same necessarily. It doesn't sound that different, but I definitely wanted to get a version of the standard tuning, and that kind of got that pedal board chain started because I liked the way that sounded ultimately, and I was kind of just doing the pedal board for the acoustic songs as an experiment. I wasn't sure I was going to use them, but because I liked it so much in Premonition Man, I ended up doing that, more focused on that actual sound that I do live. So did 3, down to my last one. So I did Syrup, I did The Light, and I did Scarface. So Scarface is the one I'm working on now. Hopefully that'll be out in the next month or so. And, I'm going to keep releasing these single one-man band live in the studio songs as well. So that's what you're going to be seeing from me. I think it's cool. I'm excited about it. I hope you think it's cool and are excited about it too. But if not, I'm going to do it either way. So anyway, I guess that's kind of all I wanted to get into for today as far as that goes. But that's what to be on the lookout for. That's what I'm going to be doing. And about to go in after I get this one done, record another 3-song acoustic track version of some of my originals. So that'll put me up to 6. Probably going to try to get it up to 10 on that, and slow release it and then kind of group them all together. Same with the one-man band versions. Release, the single song, and that gives me time to kind of edit each video, up to snuff as far as good as I can get it anyway. But yeah, so I guess that's it. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. I'm excited about it. It's different for me, anyway. And yeah, I guess that's it. I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen as always. And I'm going to try to be more on top of the podcast, so hopefully there'll be more of these coming out here soon. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I guess I'll see you next time. Have a good one.